So, as I mentioned in the video earlier, this was a surprise. Alright, good morning all. Probably going to be a bit of a two-part vid. This is Tuesday. I'm just taking my bike to go and get its rear wheel tyre changed. I don't know if I really want to film it here. I'll do a bit, but a lot of people turning right. So yeah, you only get the rear tyre swapped out. The Michelin Road 6. It was an advisory on my MOT, so I thought, you know, better safe than sorry for the road trip we got coming up. So yeah, that's the plan today, and then can't do much riding today. Going to see my father-in-law in hospital, and my granddad and my grandfather-in-law. Yeah, the triple. But then tonight I've got to run an errand, which you'll see probably in the next, you know, 5-10 minutes of the video. Quite a big surprise actually, something I've always wanted to do. You know, luckily I've got a friend kind of helping me out, and I'm helping him out in a way, so it's kind of a win-win. So yeah, we were kind of scratching each other's backs in a sense, but yes, so you'll see that later in the video. I'm not going to talk much more about that. One thing I did want to talk about that I've kind of not really gone into much detail over the last two videos is our bike trip. So it's me on my Kawasaki Vulcan 650, my friend Dale on his KTM Adventure 390, which you've seen in the previous video, and then my brother-in-law Tom on his KTM Adventure 790, I want to say. He only just recently bought his bike. I think he was never originally going to come on the trip, and he came around my house with his kids and my nieces and nephews, and sat in my office, and he saw my little I think it was no, it wasn't, it was my little pad that I'd made. I'm very organised. Very organised when it comes to like planning things like that, so I'd made like a whole little pamphlet kind of thing to send to Dale, and he saw it on my computer and he, oh, what's that? And you know, he was very interested. He said, oh, I was thinking about getting a bike, you know, this will be a good reason to do it and go on a nice trip, so that's what we're doing. So we leave on the 19th of May. We've got to be up, our train's at like 6, is it 6 or 7 I think, but we have to be there an hour before, obviously to do paperwork and things like that, so it's a good, very early start that morning. Very early start that morning, and sorry, I'm just trying to concentrate. Literally just jumped on the bike, so it's like 9 in the morning. So yeah, on the train, on the Eurostar, I think it's about an hour on there, or the Les Shuttle now they call it. And then obviously arrive in France, I think with like, yeah, I'm sure it must be 6, because then we arrive in France at UK time 7ish. Obviously French time is about 8 o'clock. And then we're kind of, it's like a free-for-all from there really. Our end goal is to get back to the UK, but kind of our halfway 75% point is the Black Forest in Germany, just on the border. Some beautiful roads around there apparently, very, very popular with bikers, so that's kind of our goal. We haven't booked any kind of Airbnbs or anything like that. We're all very easygoing guys, so it'd be a case of, you know, how far do we get on each day, get to about lunchtime-ish, book an Airbnb or whatever we, you know, hotel, anything that's suitable really. It's more so the safety of the bikes more than anything. And so 10 minutes. Yeah, it's more so the safety of the bikes. You know, I'm not asked about sharing a bed with a bloke. We've all, you know, we've all been to house parties, and you know, we've got to do what we got to do. There's no point paying for free rooms when we don't have to. So just trying to find a place to stop. Let's turn around in here. Up this horrible looking curb. Oh. So yeah, that's the so yeah, we're not, you know, we're not beholden to, you know, where we need to stop each day, or, you know, the timings. Obviously we've got a ticket to come home. Yeah, a ticket to come home on the shuttle. So yeah, obviously we need to make that kind of, that, what's it called? What am I trying to say? End goal. But yeah, so we're really looking forward to it. You know, it'll be the first of its kind with us. And it's going to be a bit of a test, you know. I think in future kind of scenarios we definitely want to do something like this again, maybe a bit longer, maybe a bit further. So yeah, bike is absolutely minging. I took my wife out on it on Wednesday last week, and it kind of just drizzled the whole time we was on it. It wasn't too bad. The only thing that actually got wet was my shins. But yeah, she's minging. She does need a good clean. But I've got this little tool bag for the front that I needs to come down a bit, to be fair. But yeah, I like that. It's just a bag, it's not a roll. I thought it was a roll when I bought it, but it's not, it's a bag, but I don't mind. So I'm just going to put some like miscellaneous bits in there. Just kind of, you know, goes with the seat. For some reason my charger isn't working. It's saying it's taking voltage, but it's not working in the phones. I need to test a couple of different cables. It's really annoying. Really annoying. So yeah, that's the bike trip. So yeah, we so basically riding through France. We're undecided yet. Obviously, as it's due to an early start. Yeah, due to an early start, we don't know how far we're going to get on the first day. You know, tiredness kicks in, especially when you're riding a bike. You get very, you know, drained. Like I said in the videos before, staying hydrated is a massive, you know, thing you need to make sure you do, because it just can wipe you out. And you know, eating properly and things like that. So yeah, that's the idea. Is we'll probably jump off the shuttle, you know, decide whether we you know, how we're feeling, things like that. If we think, right, we'll do a few twisties and that, and then from there we're going to decide whether to go through up north through Belgium and Luxembourg, and then come back down into France, or if we're not feeling it, we might just do a few motorway miles on the first day, just bang them out, get some distance behind us. And I think like our first goal is a place called Nancy, so which I believe is the bike theft hotspot of France. Yeah, so that'll be interesting. Video I watched actually a while ago. Her dad and his son. I think the dad was on a BMW GS. Any of you that do know, they're enormous bikes, big touring. They're like the touring bike. Well, they're adventure tourers. I can't remember what the son was on, but it was nothing like that. It was a smaller bike. He'd only just passed his test not long before, and they wanted to do a bike trip together. And I think they parked up in Nancy, and they were literally just. His son was like, I think we should chain the bike wheels together for now, like while we unload the you know, the baggage. And the dad said, no, don't worry about it. We'll wait. And then literally took his bag out. You all right, mate? How you doing? Let's just park it here for now. So yeah, back to that story. Little Jobsworth came over, said I couldn't park there because it's private property and I'm not insured to be there. It's fucking ridiculous, but oh well. So yeah, I think they were unloading their bags into the Airbnb. That's got some steps, but it was like the bikes were basically in front, just in this car park. Middle of the day, came back out from the Airbnb after maybe 2 minutes. GS had been lifted into the back of a van. So well, I'll probably put a picture of a GS, but they're enormous. They're really big, heavy bikes. And yeah, somehow, you know, probably just snapped the steering lock and lifted it, put it straight into the back of a van, and off they went. So the dad was distraught, as he would be. The son had to take some of his luggage back, and the dad had to train it back to the UK. So yeah, you just got to be careful out there. You've got to be so vigilant. You know, you think you're safe, middle of the day, big heavy bike, you know, car park, other cars in it, outside your Airbnb, and just gets lifted. So yeah, I mean, he got a nice insurance payout, and I think he went and bought himself another brand new GS. So, you know, silver linings and that. But right, let's go get my tyres done, or tyre. There we go, tyre changed. Actually, I should really call Abby. But yeah, tyre change took a little bit longer than I expected, but the guy was really nice. Ian, shout out to Ian, lubed up my chain for me, so someone ain't got to worry about next, you know, however long. But for any of you that don't know, oh, thought my phone was falling off there. Yeah, for any of you that don't know, about 50 miles after your tyre change, you know, you need to take it easy. You've got to wait for the grip to wear in, and the cover, you know, the sealant or whatever it is they put on it to wear off, because it can be quite slippy. So you'll sometimes see people who get their tyres changed, they do a quick burnout just to wear the rubber in, but I'm not doing that on this. I'm not going. But yeah, so that, you know, just a quick ride back now to the garage, and then I'll probably pick this back up tomorrow, go out for a ride. Ooh, I'm feeling like a little fannet run. A little fannet run tomorrow. Get your side of the yeah, there we go, little Triumph Tiger. Yeah, little Fanet run, I think, maybe, I don't know yet, to be honest. Depends what I feel like, depends what the weather's like as well. I don't really like going to the, you know, the seaside towns, as it were, when it's grey. I'd rather be, you know, out in the countryside, or even a bit of city driving, you know, just poodling round. Don't need to go quick. Gave him a little tip for lubing up the chain and that. Or not. So yeah, probably just go out for a ride tomorrow, tell some more stories about me. I know people are interested in hearing about other people's lives and what they get up to. Yeah, taking the wheel off, I definitely need a new chain and sprocket after this trip. It's fine for now, but you know, it's getting that way. That's the problem with bikes, they're just almost an endless pit of money, but you know, when you love them, love riding them, it's definitely worth it. It's always weighing up those kind of, you know, do I spend money on my comfort? You know, it's, you know, I'm not weighing it up, because obviously you should always, you know, prioritise the safety and the, you know, the actual workings of the bike. But it's always after, you know, you make a big expenditure for, like, you know, your heated grips and your seat and things like that, and then it's like, round the corner is always a sprocket change, or, you know, fork seals, or little things like that. You start having to pull money out of your arse. So I'm going to leave you here and I'll bring it back tomorrow. Right, here she is, Virago 535. I believe it's 1996. Needs a lot of love. My friend Kez's bike. He, I believe him and his dad bought it to share, and just never got round to riding it, so it's just been neglected a bit. Here's the dogs, by the way, there's Remy, there's Kenny. So yeah, my little project bike, I want to restore it. Very nice paint job. Don't know if it's going to show up, but yeah. It's so the goal for today, get it washed, check for spark, check for fuel, check for air. Hopefully in some way or another I can get it running, but the first things first is giving it a good wash. So I'll bring you back when I've cleaned her. It's all washed, got a nice shimmer, beautiful paint job. Really nice. I need to find out more about it, if it's custom, who done it. So obviously nothing special here in terms of a wash. I need a pressure washer really, but obviously, as we know, we've got no power or water up here, so I do what I got. But no, very pleased. She is a very nice bike actually, very nice profile. I've seen a lot of these bobbered out, back end slashed off, big fat tyre, I'll put a picture up of one I really like. But yeah, no, very nice bike. So now I'm going to try and diagnose a few issues with it. We have got some absolutely excellent news. So I've got the battery from my bike wired in. Immediately with the ignition on down here, we've got neutral, which is fantastic. If I set the bike to run, we can hear the full fuel pump priming. And if we set the bike to start, it ticks over, which is fan-dabby fucking dozy. So what I'm going to do is hopefully get some fuel into the carbs. And right guys, we might have some progress. So get that spider off. I've just been watching a video about cleaning the carbs, and I thought, let's not jump the gun, let's try and actually see if it, you know, starts off some manual juice. So should we give it a go? Yay! Come on! Happy days! Not much has actually been done today in terms of removal and, you know, cleaning. We've made big progress. It starts. So now it's a case of getting some fuel lines, getting it all hooked back up, getting it a battery, and seeing what we can do in terms of, will it sit idling, or will we, you know, will the other work need to be done. But I definitely want to rebuild the carbs anyway, potentially swap out some fuel lines, fuel pump filter, sorry, and then other than that, as long as the indicators work, the headlight works, brake lights, brakes, you know, it's probably more kind of aesthetics. So it'll be engine, brakes, and then start polishing up the chrome and replacing maybe a few parts that need replacing, like those springs at the back. I don't know how they're going to come up. So yeah, happy days. I'm really pleased with today. Nice short video, and yeah, obviously the next one I'll likely be out on this baby. Thanks for watching, like and subscribe. See you later.